Hey everyone, Chris and Jason here with another Private Lenders podcast. Thanks for checking us out. As always, we're sponsored by our mastermind group, hardmoneymastermind.com, where new and experienced private and hard money lenders get together to share information, help each other out, stories, content, all of that. And always sponsored by our lending company, hardmoneybankers.com. Check us out. All right, so today we're talking about the fact that just because you might have leads as a private lender does not mean you have real deals, or definitely not enough of them. And this comes up a lot in the mastermind and in conversations with other people. A lot of people assume that they have plenty of lead flow without marketing. And a couple things made me think about that. So we can tell you from experience of being hard money lenders for the past 13 or so years that you need a lot of leads to turn into deals, because it's a numbers game. And frankly, most of them just aren't deals. On the borrower side, like with the kind of cash they'll need to close on the transaction, oftentimes doesn't work. Or maybe they're just overpaying for it and it's not a smart buy. Or maybe they don't take your terms. Maybe you give them a quote and they go shop it out. And, you need dozens of leads to get a closed deal. It's just the reality of it. And I think I hear too often in conversations and in chatting with the people that we do consulting with and in the mastermind that they're like, oh, no, I'm good on I know about the marketing stuff, but I'm good there. I got deals. Right.
Yeah. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. And listen, in any business, leads and marketing and sales is the lifeblood of the organization, right? Like that's what happens. And, a few things with private lending. Number one, you want to be able to get as much lead flow and deal flow as you can as possible, so you can choose the best of the best of the best and almost cherry pick the best deals. And, private lending is an interesting business model. And the reason why is you have on one side of the door, you have people knocking over and over and over. Let me in, let me buy your product, work with me, begging to work with you. And that's usually not the case, right? Someone knocks on the door of McDonald's and they want a cheeseburger, McDonald's is going to sell them a cheeseburger. Here, in this case, you're going to have a line out the door, people knocking on the door to work with you. And you got to have your underwriting hat on at the same time. So just because somebody wants a loan doesn't mean you're going to give them the loan. And I think a lot of people have the mindset of, oh, hey, somebody applied for the loan. They seem to have decent credit and decent experience and some cash they can put in. Let's give them a loan. And it doesn't work like that. And you kind of have to learn that of you got to do the best of the best deals. And think about it like this on a numbers side. Let's say you have $100,000 to deploy. Let's say you're starting out, you only have $100,000 to deploy, and you want to find one good deal around $100,000. Well, if you only get 10 phone calls or 10 applications or 10 knocks on the door, you're only going to have like a 10, 1 out of 10. You're going to pick the best deal, I should say, of 1 out of 10. Now, let's say you have 100 leads that come in. You're going to pick 1 out of 100. Right? Chances are with a 1 out of 100 lead is going to be, or 1 out of 100 deal is going to be a lot better than the 1 out of 10 deal. So it's a numbers game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to back up a little bit and just talk about kind of the mindset that goes into what ends up creating a successful small business, whether it's in real estate or something else, is accepting the fact that you're a marketer first, right? That's hard for a lot of real estate people to get there, whether they're agents or flippers or hard money lenders. If you're in business, you're a marketer first. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I know that. But there's a weird thing about the phrase, I know that. And I was listening to Russell Brunson's podcast this morning. Really good stuff. We used to be in his mastermind group. We've been fans of his stuff and his conferences for many years. It's weird when people say that. It's almost like a resistance to that fact. If you say like, oh, I already know that, but don't do it, it's because you're resisting that thing. And that's because it's only like superficially in your brain. And what he was talking about is how do you get an idea like that that's so important in your subconscious, right? And that in one of the many ways, one of the few ways that you can get something from it's in the tip of your mind to subconscious and you act it out every day is by repetition, right? So Russell was saying, if you read his books and you listen to his podcast and you go to his conference once a year and you're in his mastermind and all that stuff, it's all the same content, just in a different form. And the purpose for that is it's intentionally done because he has to hammer home his points in different ways to get it to sink in, right? Yeah. It was really smart. point he was making, and I was listening to it when I was driving to the office today, and I'm like, man, that is really applicable to what we teach in the mastermind, because it really is the block and tackle stuff over and over again. Like the steps to raising capital is always what it is, right? And your marketing block and tackle is that. And here's how you underwrite. And here's how you're scripting. Granted, like things evolve over time, but the pillars of the business are always there. And talking about this pillar being that you're a marketer first when you wake up in the morning, and the widgets that you do and the revenues come from hard money loans. And that's awesome. We love the niche, but we have accepted the fact, and it's in our subconscious many years ago, that every day we get up and we're marketers.
That's a good point. And you're so right about taking it from knowing it or knowing of it to the subconscious. I mean, one of the things that pisses me off more than anything in the world is somebody that I know will not read a freaking book because he's like, I already know all that stuff in the book.
Right.
And it's like, and he'll be like, well, what was in the book or what'd you learn out of the book? It's like, honestly, a lot of the stuff is, we already know this stuff on a regular, we know it. Like you've been taught it educational wise. I know the principles of it, but the way it was communicated with me made it more real life and made it more, definable and accessible and subconscious. Now it's subconscious and it's engraved in my head. Right. Like and that drives me nuts because so many people say that. Be like, oh yeah, I already know everything about real estate. I'm not going to read that real estate book. Right. Or whatever it is of it. And it is with marketing. Listen, marketing is not the hardest thing in the world. You understand the marketing principles. We all understand the marketing principles. But the point is it's the lifeblood of the business, and you got to be doing it on a regular basis. I mean, it's real money. It's your money. It's your capital investors' money. Like, it's real. Why not spend time on getting the best of the best of the best deals? And I think some people are scared to market because they're scared that they're going to be overwhelmed and not be able to handle the requests that come in. It's like, oh, as soon as I do this email campaign or this email blast or this Google campaign or this Facebook campaign, like I'm not gonna be able to handle the leads. I'm not going to handle the deal flow. Well, guess what? That's a good problem to have. I'd rather have somebody pissed off at me because I didn't call them back than have to fund a loan that's not that good to begin with, or it wasn't an A+ loan, right? Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because someone at the on the mastermind coaching call last week said, it seems like you guys are really, really busy, right? What are you guys involved in on a regular basis? It seems like you guys are really, really busy. And I think a lot of hard money lenders and private lenders are scared to jump into this business because they want it to be more of a passive investment or a side hustle than a full-time blown out company. And I get that. And I appreciate that. They don't want to give themselves another job if they just want to deploy maybe a few $100,000 or a few $1 million of their own money. And I understand that, but like, you want to have good opportunities and good deals, and like, don't feel bad if unfortunately you can't handle all the lead flow that comes in. You want to be able to get as much lead flow in on a regular basis to cherry pick the deals. There's too many people that reach out to us for help, either in one of our consulting groups, or we do private consulting with them, or they're in their mastermind group, or just friends that I know that deploy money and they run deals by us. And I'm like, listen, you're trying to push this deal through, and it's not that good of a deal. Any way that you look at this thing, it's not going to work. Now, I understand that it's a larger loan amount. I understand you're emotional about the deal. I understand that you don't have any other leads coming in right now, but you have real risks with this deal and this opportunity. And it's something to really get serious about and think about.
Yeah. I mean, then if you don't have enough leads, you fall into the trap of trying to make it work. And that is never a good place to be. Trying to make it work is just what Jason was describing. So you're like, okay, how can I come up in loan amount to make it work? Okay, how can I come down in price to make it work? What could I like? And granted, there is like creative deal structure, and that's part of what we do, obviously, but trying to make a deal work and going outside of your own parameters because you don't have enough leads is exactly where you don't want to be. And that's a marketing problem, right? And that is straight up a marketing problem. And I think one of the main obstacles that gets in people's way when talking to people in the mastermind and the people we've done consulting with is they think it has to be black belt, gigantic marketing campaign, all these different things. And it does not have to be that way. It could be that way later on, but it doesn't even have to be. Like if you just chunk it down to like, okay, I'm going to send an email broadcast to our list 1 day a week. That's it. And as new people come in, you're adding people to the list. You could have a nice company and a full-on career just doing that marketing,
Yeah.
right? You could do more. You can do social. You can run some paid ads. We do all that stuff. It's great, but you could get by. There are plenty of hard money lenders who squeak by with less, and like, you know, I'm word of mouth only, which is just like a silly way to brag that you don't market.
Working by referral only. Old school real estate agent style, dude. It's as easy as going to a meetup group and handing out a freaking business card and raising your hand and telling them you have money to lend.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest thing to get people into the door and get their business card and put them in an email database and send them an email once a month. And if you're not comfortable going to a meetup group during COVID, then go post on social media and provide value to them. Right? You know, I just finished the book Go Giver. And, you know, provide more than you take, and go on social media and provide value to real estate investors or commercial property owners of ways that, you know, you could potentially help them, right? And, you know, they know who you are. You have capital, and it grows 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 until one day, potentially, you don't really need to do any more active stuff besides just sending kind of an email reminder out and have people do that. I mean, it's it's kind of like silly and non-negotiable, this whole marketing thing, that you have to do it. And the reason, it's just like anything else, right? Like Russell talks about this as well, kind of on, you know, some podcasts that I've listened to related to, it's your obligation to provide the best service and value that you have. Think about this. Let's say you made you own a pizzeria and you make the best pizza, right? Like, you believe it's the best. Your spouse believes it's the best. Just everyone, whatever. They think it's the best pizza. Well, you're not doing anybody any value if you're not marketing to get people in the front door. And if it's just sitting there, not doing any good because no one can taste your pizza, right? You have capital to deploy, right? Go out there and get the best opportunities and the best deals you can get.
Absolutely. And we had one interesting story recently that I posted. Jason pointed out in our pipeline that we keep month to month of the stuff that we have closing. And I noticed in the pipeline, I posted in the mastermind that somebody was in our database from 2013. Not sure how he got in there, if it was organic traffic, paid traffic, whatever, but came into our database then by opting into some form on our website, most likely, received our emails for 8 years, got our emails for 8 years, and finally closed a loan this month or last month with that person for the first time. He's been seeing our content for 8 years. And that wasn't any additional work for us. We do 1 or 2 email broadcasts a week from many years ago till forever. And eventually it turned into dollars, right? So it just goes to show you, that the consistency of that email broadcast, it pays huge. It really does.
And why don't we end with this? Doing marketing in this business doesn't take a lot of time, and it doesn't cost a lot of money compared to other businesses in general.
True.
Right? You know, if McDonald's has to set, I don't know why I'm on the McDonald's marketing kick, but they're great marketers, right? And, you know, if McDonald's wants to sell a cheeseburger, typically it costs them in the several dollars just to sell one cheeseburger. They lose money probably on that, and they make money on their upsells and their other things. It doesn't cost you a ton of money to do marketing. Number one, meetup groups are free. Posting on Facebook is free. Google Business. And so, I mean, go look at any of the past videos that we've done in our members area or our free stuff that we have on YouTube or the Hard Money Mastermind stuff. Most of the stuff that we do is free. The principles and the core structures are free. Yeah, we might throw some additional marketing dollars to boost things quicker. But on that, we're all about throwing money instead of time on these marketing efforts. But it doesn't take a lot of time, and it doesn't take a lot of money, especially at the beginning. You know, in our model, in order for us to close about 20 deals a month, we need about 1,000 leads in a month. And even with 1,000 leads, a lot of the borrowers we do loans for are repeat people. So like, do the math. If ours is 1,000 to get 20 loans, more or less, you know, if you want to get 2 loans, you probably need 100 leads a month, give or take. And you want them to be the best of the best of the best, right? It makes sense to do that. You don't want to be doing slack, crappy deals just because that's the best deal that you do. You know, another joke we always kind of talk about is, you know, we always kind of have like our fingers on the pulse of what's going on in the market just by the types of deals that we're doing and the leads that are coming in and what we're closing that month. And we're always going to do, you know, the best deals that we have in front of us, right? that's just what it is. So make sure those deals are good deals that you're getting. And listen, there's lots of loans out there that a borrower is buying a property for 200 grand and they have 150 grand. All they need is 50 grand for you, right? There's deals like that out there. People don't think that exists, right? It's like, oh, well, everybody wants only to put 10% down these days. And, that's what my competition has. Well, go keep marketing, finding more opportunities. They're out there. We're doing ridiculous deals every month, and we have been for a long period of time, and we'll continue to, because we outmarket our competition. So we have more deal flow than our competition. So we're going to have better deals than our competition. That's just how it goes. And you got to do the same.
100%. If you guys want to continue the conversation about marketing, please head over to hardmoneymastermind.com. If you haven't done so already, create a free account, introduce yourself, let us know what you're up to in hard and private money lending, and we'll keep the conversation going. We'll see you guys next time on the Private Lenders Podcast.